My sister told me the family trip was postponed. But then I saw the airport selfies without me. So I waited until they landed and left them a surprise that had everyone calling me within hours. I, 29M, thought I had the perfect family. We weren't rich, but we were close. Or so I believed until 3 days ago when everything I thought I knew crumbled in the span of a single Instagram story. The Bahamas trip had been planned for months. Mom's 60th birthday celebration, something we'd all been saving for. My sister coordinated everything through our family group chat, booking flights, the resort, even restaurant reservations. I'd been looking forward to it for weeks, especially since work had been brutal lately and I desperately needed the break. Then Tuesday morning, my sister called. Her voice sounded strained when she told me the trip was postponed. Something about Mom catching a stomach bug and the resort having issues with their booking system. She said they were looking at rescheduling for next month, maybe later. I was disappointed but understood these things happen. I spent Wednesday catching up on work, thinking about how I'd use the unexpected free time. That's when I decided to scroll through Instagram during my lunch break. The first photo hit me like a punch to the gut. My sister, grinning ear to ear at what was clearly an airport gate, with Bahamas bound, as the caption. The timestamp showed 2 hours ago. My heart started racing as I swiped through more stories. There was my brother-in-law at the airport bar, my cousin posting a boarding pass selfie. Even my elderly uncle, who I didn't even know used Instagram, had somehow managed to post a blurry photo of an airplane window. But the one that really broke me was Mom's post. She was sitting in what looked like a first-class seat, holding a champagne flute, with the caption, 60 and fabulous. Best birthday surprise ever. She looked healthier and happier than I'd seen her in months. I sat in my office bathroom stall for 20 minutes, just staring at my phone, refreshing the stories over and over. Every family member was there. Every single one except me. The stomach bug story was complete fiction. They hadn't postponed anything. They'd just decided I wasn't invited. The betrayal cut deeper than I expected. These were the people I'd helped through everything. I'd lent my brother money when his business was failing. I'd driven 8 hours each way to help my sister move apartments 3 times. I'd taken vacation days to care for Mom after her surgery last year. And this was how they repaid me. I left work early, claiming I was sick. It wasn't entirely a lie. I felt nauseous with hurt and anger. At home, I paced my apartment, trying to figure out what I'd done wrong. Had I said something offensive at the last family dinner? Forgotten someone's birthday? I replayed every recent interaction, searching for clues. By evening, the social media posts were getting worse. Group photos at the resort, dinner selfies, beach shots. They were having the time of their lives while I sat alone, wondering why I'd been erased from my own family. That's when I decided they needed to understand what it felt like to be excluded. I knew they'd all left their cars in long-term parking at the airport. My sister had mentioned it weeks ago when we were still planning together. And I knew something else. I had spare keys to most of their vehicles. Over the years, we'd all exchanged keys for emergencies, pet sitting, or helping each other out. But I wasn't planning anything destructive. I'm not that kind of person. What I had in mind was more psychological. I spent Thursday researching and Friday shopping. I bought dozens of for sale signs, the kind you stick in car windows. But these weren't ordinary for sale signs. I had them custom printed at a local shop, each one perfectly tailored to embarrass the owner. For my sister's pristine BMW, I made a sign that read, for sale, overpriced status symbol. Owner is fake and excludes family. $5 OBO. My brother-in-law's truck got, for sale, compensating for small personality. Recent betrayal adds character. Free to good home. Mom's sedan received, for sale, driven by a woman who raised backstabbing children. Comes with trust issues. Price negotiable. I made signs for all 7 cars in their group. Each message crafted to reflect their specific betrayal. The beauty was in the details. I included their actual phone numbers on each sign. Saturday morning, I drove to the airport. Long-term parking was massive, but I knew the general area where they usually parked. It took me 2 hours to find all their vehicles, scattered across different levels and sections. One by one, I placed the signs in their windows. I was careful to make them visible, but not blocking their view. I wanted them embarrassed, not in accidents. Some I tucked under windshield wipers, others I taped to side windows. The whole time, my hands were shaking. Part excitement, part nervousness, part satisfaction at finally doing something about the hurt they'd caused me. I also left a small handwritten note on each windshield. Hope you enjoyed the postponed trip. Some family you turned out to be. The brother/son/nephew you forgot existed. Then I went home and waited. Their flight wasn't due back until Sunday evening, which meant the cars would sit there for over 24 hours with my signs displayed. Long-term parking at our airport is busy, thousands of people walking past daily, many taking pictures of funny signs they see. Sunday afternoon, I got my first call. It was my uncle, his voice tight with barely controlled anger. He'd found his car and wanted to know what I thought I was doing. I told him I thought I was giving them a taste of their own medicine. He called me immature and hung up. 20 minutes later, my sister called, screaming so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. She accused me of being petty and embarrassing the family. I asked her how she thought I felt being excluded from Mom's 60th birthday trip. She went quiet for a moment, then launched into excuses about how it was a last-minute change and they couldn't reach me. I reminded her about the stomach bug lie, the social media posts, the fact that she'd looked me in the eye and lied. She hung up. The calls kept coming. My brother-in-law left a voicemail calling me pathetic. My cousin sent angry texts. Even Mom called, her voice disappointed and hurt, asking why I'd embarrass her like that. That last call almost broke my resolve. Mom's voice carries weight with me that no one else's does. But then I reminded myself of her Instagram post, how happy she'd looked celebrating without me, how easily they'd all written me off. I told her I was sorry she was embarrassed, but I wasn't sorry for defending myself. I explained how it felt to discover their betrayal through social media, how they'd all lied to my face. She tried to justify it by saying they thought I'd been distant lately, that I might not have wanted to come anyway. The absurdity of that excuse amazed me. Rather than ask me directly, they decided to exclude me and lie about it. Then they'd posted their deception all over social media for me to discover accidentally. Update 1. Monday morning brought more consequences than I'd expected. Apparently, several people had taken photos of the signs and shared them on local Facebook groups. One had even gone viral in our city's community page, with hundreds of comments and reactions. My sister called again, this time crying. She said people at her work had seen the photos and were asking questions. Her boss had apparently made a joke about the fake person who excludes family sign, not knowing it was about her. Part of me felt bad seeing her so upset. But then I remembered how I'd felt discovering their betrayal, and the sympathy faded. She finally admitted the truth. They'd decided months ago that I'd been negative lately and might bring down the mood of Mom's birthday celebration. Instead of talking to me about whatever issues they perceived, they'd chosen to exclude me entirely. The decision had been made in a family group chat, one I'd apparently been removed from weeks earlier without my knowledge. They'd planned the lie together, coordinating their stories about the postponement and Mom's fake illness. What hurt most was learning that Mom had initially objected to excluding me. But my sister had convinced her it would be better for everyone, that they could plan something separate for me later. Mom had gone along with it, trusting my sister's judgment. I asked my sister what exactly I'd done to deserve being cut out. She struggled to give specifics, mentioning that I'd seemed stressed at recent family gatherings and had been less communicative in group chats. Apparently, they'd interpreted my work stress as me being unpleasant to be around. The irony was crushing. I'd been stressed because I'd been working extra hours to afford the trip. I'd been quiet because I was tired from overtime shifts. And they'd used my efforts to afford their celebration as evidence that I shouldn't be included in it. Update 2. Tuesday brought an unexpected development. My youngest cousin, who'd been on the trip but wasn't involved in the original decision, called to apologize. She'd only learned about the deception when they were already at the airport, and she'd felt terrible about it the entire time. She told me something that made everything worse. On the plane, my sister had shown the family some of my recent social media posts, pointing out how I'd seemed unhappy and negative. They'd spent part of the flight discussing whether they'd made the right choice, with several family members expressing doubts. But instead of calling me or turning the plane around, or even sending a simple text acknowledging their mistake, they decided to enjoy the trip and deal with the fallout later. They'd convinced themselves that I probably preferred being left out anyway. My cousin also revealed that they'd spent considerable time during the trip planning how to handle the situation when they returned. They decided to tell me that the postponement had been canceled at the last minute, and they'd make it up to me with a smaller trip later. Learning about their continued deception, even after they'd realized their mistake, hardened my resolve. These weren't people who'd made an error in judgment. They were people who'd planned and executed a deliberate betrayal, then doubled down on it even when they knew it was wrong. Wednesday brought the most surprising call of all. Mom asked if she could come over to talk in person. I agreed, partly out of curiosity and partly because I missed her, despite everything. She arrived looking older than I'd remembered, the guilt clearly weighing on her. She sat in my living room and cried, apologizing for going along with my sister's plan. She admitted she'd known it was wrong, but had trusted my sister's judgment about family dynamics. Mom revealed something that explained a lot. My sister had been struggling with feeling overshadowed by me lately. I'd gotten a promotion at work while her business was struggling. I'd bought a house while she was still renting. She'd apparently expressed resentment about always feeling like the less successful sibling. Rather than address these feelings directly, she'd used Mom's birthday as an opportunity to exclude me, framing it as protecting the family celebration from my negative energy. She'd convinced the others that I would somehow ruin Mom's special day. The revelation was both heartbreaking and infuriating. My sister's insecurity had led her to sabotage our entire family, and everyone had gone along with it rather than question her reasoning. Mom begged me to forgive them, promising that something like this would never happen again. She offered to pay for a makeup trip, just the two of us, to try to repair our relationship. I told her I appreciated her apology, but forgiveness would take time. The trust was broken, and it couldn't be rebuilt with a simple sorry or a replacement trip. Update 3. It's been a week since the airport incident, and the fallout continues. The story has spread beyond our immediate family and friend circles. Apparently, someone recorded a video of people laughing at the signs in the parking garage, and it's been shared widely on local social media. My sister has been getting recognized around town, with people asking if she's the one from the fake family member sign. She's furious with me and has demanded I publicly apologize and explain that the signs were a joke. I've refused. They weren't a joke. They were a public acknowledgement of what she'd done to me. If she's embarrassed by people knowing the truth about her behavior, maybe she should have considered that before betraying her brother. Several family members have taken sides. My uncle and brother-in-law remain angry with me, calling my response disproportionate. But my younger cousins have mostly been supportive, saying they understood why I'd felt hurt and excluded. Interestingly, I've heard from extended family members who weren't on the trip. Several have reached out to say they'd wondered why I wasn't included, but had assumed I'd chosen not to go. Learning the truth has opened their eyes to family dynamics they'd never noticed before. My relationship with my sister may be permanently damaged. She's blocked me on all social media and refuses to speak to me directly, communicating only through Mom when necessary. She's told other family members that I'm vindictive and can't take a joke. But I've also gained something unexpected: clarity about who these people really are. The family I thought I had was built on conditional love and hidden resentments. The people I trusted most were capable of elaborate deceptions when it suited them. Mom continues to try to mediate, but I've told her that rebuilding relationships requires acknowledgement of wrongdoing from everyone involved, not just her. My sister needs to apologize for the original betrayal and the continued lies. The others need to acknowledge their role in going along with the deception. So far, only Mom and my youngest cousin have offered genuine apologies. The others seem more concerned with managing the embarrassment than addressing the underlying issues. I'm not sure what comes next for our family. The trust that took decades to build was destroyed in a weekend, and I'm not sure it can be repaired. Maybe that's okay. Maybe some relationships aren't worth saving if they're built on such shaky foundations. People keep asking if I regret the airport signs, if I think I went too far. The honest answer is no. They excluded me from one of the most important family celebrations we'd ever planned, lied to my face about it, then posted their deception all over social media for me to discover accidentally. Their embarrassment lasted a few days. My sense of betrayal will last much longer. Sometimes the only way to make people understand the consequences of their actions is to ensure they face those consequences publicly. They wanted to exclude me from the family. Now they get to explain to everyone why their family member felt the need to expose their behavior at an airport. I've learned that loyalty is a two-way street, and trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to rebuild. But I've also learned that I'm stronger than I thought, capable of standing up for myself even when it means standing alone. The family I thought I had may be gone, But maybe that's an opportunity to build something better with the people who actually value having me around. As for my sister and her successful social media career documenting family trips, well, I hope her next vacation photos get the engagement they deserve. Just maybe not the kind she was expecting.